Welcome to Here with Laura. I'm your host, Laura Williams, and I'm a designer, entrepreneur, mom, and this is a space where real life and meaningful conversations meet. Each episode, I sit down with people who inspire me, fellow creatives, entrepreneurs, business owners, visionaries, and dreamers, to talk about the behind the scenes of building a life with intention. We'll cover everything from the beauty of slow mornings to the chaos of growing a business and all the messy, magical moments in between. Whether you're multitasking or taking a moment for yourself, I am so glad you're here. And today, I am joined by a one-of-a-kind woman who has had the most exciting and interesting work-life journey. I am so thrilled to dive into it. She is a powerhouse editor, journalist, author, PR expert that has found home here in Austin and is creating roots right here. Please welcome Jen Birn, editor-in-chief at Austin Lifestyle Magazine and the owner and of marketing PR consulting company Birn Communications.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
This is so exciting. So Jen came into my shop to Living Oak Home Decor over on Koenig Lane to do a story on the shop and see and experience everything. So we met. We ended up spending over 2 hours together. Just chit-chatting, having a great time. And I knew immediately, I'm like, she has to come on the podcast.
That was funny. It was just like hours. That was just,
Yeah,
amazing.
well, I left and I had plans that evening and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm down to the wire. I'm going to have to just like get home, change, and be out the door.
So funny.
Yeah. So let's dive right in. Tell me, how did you get started in journalism? Because I think it's a super cool story that everybody needs to hear.
Yeah, it was an untraditional path.
Yeah.
I was always wanted to be a writer, but I didn't think I had the talent to write. So I went to college for law, as one does. And I was a cocktail waitress in a music bar in Tempe, Arizona, because I went to Arizona State. And the Gin Blossoms at the time used to perform, which is dating myself a bit. Great 90s band.
They're so good.
Yeah. And there was a bunch of local magazines wanted to do some press on them. I think there was talks of them breaking up and just news, and they weren't doing press. And they let me do an interview with them after the bar closed one night. And they're like, if you can get a job, Jen, great. So I pitched it to a local newspaper, and they ran it on the cover. And then they offered me a job writing about music, not knowing I was a sophomore in college.
Yeah. And the rest is history. Yeah. That's amazing. So then where did that lead you from there?
So from that, I started doing a music column and writing about nightlife for the Daily Tribune in Arizona. And then they asked me to start selling ads, which this was a time in journalism when there was black and white. There was no gray area. So it was really not super ethical at the time, but I was just learning. I was in college. I wanted to soak it all in, so I did it. And then I wrote a bad review about one of our advertisers because I was an ethical journalist. And they canceled my column, but the Arizona Republic called and asked to pick it up, which was great.
Wow.
So I became a feature writer and a columnist at the Arizona Republic my senior year, which is great. But I still had stars in my eyes. I'm like, I want to move to New York and write for a glossy magazine. So I would spend days at the Arizona Republic pitching magazine story ideas. And Maxim, which was one of the biggest selling magazines at the time, said, if you're serious about like writing here, move to New York. A friend of mine in Arizona just moved to New York and said, I found this great 3-bedroom, but there's only 2 of us. Move here. So I quit my job that day and moved a week later into a 2-bedroom where my room was really the kitchen.
Yeah. I feel like anybody who's lived in New York knows exactly what that feels like.
Yeah. So
I've been there.
3-bedroom. It was only 3. We can only live here if 3 of us can pay the rent.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah. But it was so fun.
How long were you in New York?
I was in New York for 7 years.
Okay. And did you work for Maxim in New York or?
That's a whole other story. So it turned out that the editor also apparently wanted to date me. He wrote a book later that changed my name and talked about this ambitious young journalist.
What?
Yeah. But another editor there eventually gave me a chance, and I did Dr. Maxim a couple of times at Maxim. And I freelanced for a bunch of glossy magazines until the weeklies became really competitive and popular. And I was freelancing for all of them and eventually started working at celebrity weeklies.
So do you like the weekly thing because it's just quick and constant and
I did. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm so grateful that I got to do that when I did.
Yeah.
It's like a golden age of journalism in a way. So people debate that. But when I went to college to be a journalist, I knew I would never make a lot of money. It's something you do because you're passionate about it, not because you think you're going to make a lot of money.
Sure.
In celebrity journalism for a minute, when Bonnie Fuller, who was the second ever editor of Cosmo, went to Us Weekly and started demanding crazy salaries, and then went to Star Magazine to turn it from tabloid to a regular magazine and demanded a crazy salary, it just set the bar at another level for celebrity journalists. So
Paved
we
the
were
way.
making, yeah, like you never thought you would make six figures as a reporter, and we were. So
Yeah.
it was really fun then. And there's no Instagram. It was right before Instagram, right before.
I feel like there's a new competition now because of Instagram.
It
and
changed
things-
journalism a lot too, because it became more gotcha. We weren't super gossipy then because you didn't have to rush to get the story and you could interview people and take your time.
Yeah.
So it was a different time in journalism, but it was really fun.
That's crazy. And then you went from New York to LA.
I did.
Okay.
So I always wanted to move to LA.
Yeah.
Ever since I was in sixth grade in Houston, Texas, and we had to write to the governor of a state, and I picked California, and they sent me a giant box of beaches and all these magazines. I'm like, they want me to live here, like, because I got the biggest thing, and it was sunshine. I'm like, I will live here one day. And I didn't get into UCLA out of college, so I went to Arizona State because it's closest. And I was going to go to Stanford Law School, but my professor said, why are you going to quit your job to go to get a master's to get the job you have now? So I did it. So I'm like, it wasn't if, it was when.
Yeah.
And I told my editor, I'm like, I'm moving to the LA office. And so then I did that.
Yeah. That's great.
It was super fun.
I love that you got that advice from a professor saying, why would you continue your education when you already have the job you want?
And he won a Pulitzer Prize. So
yeah. So he's smart. He knows what's up.
Yeah.
That's so
true.
funny. And I think that's really good advice for young people who are.
All the time.
I mean, I have my degree. I did not, study what I'm doing even.
Yeah.
But my work experience is what got me to where I am today.
Yeah.
And
so
also the grind.
Often, yeah. My interns, when I see master's program, like journalist students, and they don't have any clips, but they're in a master's program.
Yeah.
I was like, I kind of think it's lazy. So when I interview people and they have a master's in journalism or someone else that has clips, they've written things, I'll definitely favor the person who's clips because I think to get a master's in journalism, my professor said you can write or you can't write. So it's like you learn journalism by doing it. I feel like it's a way of just biding time, figuring out what you want to do, staying in school for journalism.
Yeah. And I think other fields too.
Unless you want to be a doctor or professor.
Yeah.
I think there's
value in life experience. 1,000%. Yeah. That's so cool. Okay, so now you are with Austin Lifestyle Magazine as editor-in-chief. Tell me a little bit about that. How long have you been there? And kind of some exciting things coming up with them.
Okay. So I left journalism and started freelancing many years ago and started a PR company. Okay. And when I was moving here, a friend of mine who I knew since my Celebrity Weekly days said there's this new magazine, they need an editor. It'll be a great way for you to get to know the city. So I'll do it for a year. And so I came. Now it's been almost 5.
Yeah.
But
you came here in COVID.
I did. During the week of the freeze, I moved here, February 2021.
That was wild.
Yeah.
That was crazy. We didn't have power at my house, and my son was only 1 at the time. And so luckily we have a fireplace, but we brought like the pack and play downstairs. And then the 3 of us, the bigger, my daughter and then my husband and I just laid on the floor in front of the fire and the pack and play was right there because my son needed to be in the pack and play. He wasn't going to sleep if he was around us. Yeah. So it was wild, but it was multiple days without power. And then I had a friend who had just had a baby that day or that week. And she got home right before the freeze. And I drove to bring her food and I couldn't get back home. My car kept on sliding down the hill because I live in like a hilly area. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be stuck here.
Oh my goodness.
Made it home. It was fun.
That's amazing.
But that's a crazy time to move from sunny LA to Austin where everybody warns you about the heat. They don't warn you about the winter.
Right. And I bought my house sight unseen online because it was the time you kind of had to do that.
Yeah.
And the day I was supposed to move, the airport was closed. And I couldn't move. And then so my real estate agent cold called my neighbor and said, can you go check on this house? And he's like, there's a few inches of water on the floor, but don't worry, I have a power vac. And he power vacked it up and dug through the snow and turned off my water.
Well, that's a really nice neighbor.
Right. And it turned out I live on the hospital grid, so we never lost power.
Yeah.
But since no one had lived in the house for a couple months, no one turned on the water. So the
Right.
water heater burst, the pipes burst.
Oh my God.
So it was a crash course in first-time home ownership.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Get in there real quick.
Yeah. But it was great. I was also learning very quickly how kind people
Texans
in
are.
Austin are.
Yeah. It's really a beautiful city, and everybody here is so welcoming, and,
Mhm.
they want you to be here. They're like, "Oh, great, newcomers."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I couldn't even be that upset. So my neighbors were just so kind that I
Yeah.
just yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So then back into you started at Austin Lifestyle
Yeah.
just as a regular old editor, and you weren't
Yeah.
planning on staying there. What
No, and it was just because my background's celebrity journalism.
Yeah.
When I decided to move to Austin, I thought I'm gonna have this quiet little suburban life.
Yeah.
Really had no idea that there was this mass exodus from LA, San Francisco, and so many people moving to Austin
Mhm.
and it was such a growing city. I
Yeah.
don't even know what spontaneously drew me to move here in the first place, but all of a sudden so many people are moving here. And I'm like, do you want to be on the cover of the magazine? Do you want to be on the cover of the magazine?
And you had so many connections that it was
Yeah, it just happened to be like a lot of the people I knew from LA. And they're
amazing.
like, yeah, that'd be fun. And it was just so it's been, my goodness.
It almost
Yeah.
seems very organic that it
Yeah.
just worked out the way it did.
Yeah.
You
The
know?
pieces just fell into place like
Yeah.
so well. And people continue to move here. So every time I think, well, I have something to write about, every issue I'm cutting stories because I have too much to write about because so much is happening in the city and there's so many incredible
It's a good
people
problem to have.
all the time. Yeah.
Too many amazing stories to write.
I know. But I always said I'd love to be able to be a local journalist because I really love telling stories, but telling stories about your neighbors and the community
And that
is,
people care about.
yeah.
I mean, the overarching stories are nice, and I like to read about people in faraway places and stuff, but not on the regular. So the people
Yeah.
who read your magazine read it devoutly almost every single month,
Mhm.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Which is super cool.
Which is really nice. And we've got pickup all over the world. But I was talking to a friend who's been in journalism for also 20 years.
Mhm.
And she works in an AI company now that sells AI to magazines and newspapers.
Interesting. How do you feel about that?
I don't like it.
Yeah, it's weird.
But I'm grateful that I work at a magazine that's never going to be paid to play and never going to be AI driven. We're just real. But she said what she's learned is most magazines aren't going to survive the next 5 years, but local magazines will because people still want to know what their neighbors are doing. People still,
That makes sense.
I mean, yeah. So people are still into community. So those are the only ones that are really going to
Still thrive.
thrive.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah.
I know. AI is insane.
Yeah.
I utilize it, though, because it's a tool if you use it the right way.
Right. I'm
And-
just like dipping my toe in for little things because
Yeah.
it does like travel schedule, like I do a travel itinerary. and
Yes.
It's just great.
I know. Well, I was
Yeah.
telling you, we're going to Italy, and it's like, oh, where should I visit in Italy when, these are the stages of my kids, and this is what we
Uh-huh.
like to do. And like, you put all these details, and it's like, well, and it just spits it out in just a couple minutes. I'm like,
Yeah.
"That's
Or
insane."
proposals. I can't stand to do
Yeah.
PowerPoint documents and you just put in your pictures, your highlights, and it makes it beautiful. Like that part
Yeah.
was,
Robots.
yeah, it's amazing. So yeah, there's a
Yeah.
love and not love in
Yeah.
that, but
I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they said, well, I grew up in the age of the Jetsons, where like we watched the Jetsons, and he's like,
Yeah.
now we're going to have robots in our house pretty soon.
and I used to wish from that whole show, I'm like,
Yeah.
I wish you could see people when you spoke to them, like on the phone.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, do we have to turn our screens on? Can this just be a call?
Well, what's funny is when I schedule Zooms with like potential clients, and I
Yeah.
always do like a little 20-minute consultation with them just to make sure we're a good fit for one another.
Yeah.
So I always have my camera on first, but if they can't figure out their camera, I'm like, I'm going to turn mine off because this feels uncomfortable to be talking into like a black screen.
Yeah. Well, and during COVID, it was a lot of people all of a sudden they were doing all these Zooms and they were feeling lonely. But I'd worked at home
Yeah.
for 10 years before
You're
that.
like, this is normal.
So it's like I had to put on makeup and get dressed more often then than I did before because everything that was a text or an email was now a Zoom.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I never really thought about that side of things.
So yeah.
Yeah. You're like, that's irritating.
Yeah.
So we were talking about the September issue.
Yeah.
And you just did the cover of that. Do you want to talk a
Yes.
little bit about that?
I'm excited. So September is our style issue.
Yeah.
It's like goes in just like the September issue. And we got Rachel.
So what do you mean by style? Like, tell me
So I
more
think
of
Vogue
that.
probably set that. I can't speak. The September style issue for Vogue is like 1,000-page tome, basically. And so it's just ours is celebrating local fashion
I love
and
that.
just style in general, and anything can be stylish from place to person.
Yeah.
We for our cover, we have Rachel Roy on the cover, who's a fashion icon.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yes, and her daughters, Ava and Tula Dash. And Ava's on a new Bravo show now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's actually
neat.
today it came out. It's the #1 show on Bravo right now.
What
It's
is
called
it?
Next Gen NYC.
Okay.
So she lives here when she's not filming, but she's also living in New York City now, just Ava. And so she flew in to be in the shoot.
Oh, that's so neat.
Yeah, and just seeing her with her daughters was so sweet.
And she's an icon, so that's just remarkable.
And she's just brilliant. The way her mind works and is just fascinating. So she started with her couture line.
Yeah.
And then now she does lines for TJ Maxx and Macy's, and she has a home line. And yeah, she just continued always creating.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I'd love to know a little bit more about your PR company and kind of what you do, how long you've been working for Bird Communications, when you started all of that.
Yeah. That was really organic too. I never aspired to be a publicist.
Yeah.
Especially that was another thing that was like you're a journalist or a publicist. There wasn't a lot of gray area like there is today. I was an editor just launching OK Magazine. And I went on the first flight for Virgin America when they flew New York to San Francisco. And there was a tornado in Brooklyn that day, which never happens.
That's crazy.
So most people missed the flight. They wanted to take off relatively on time because it was their first flight. So there was maybe 30 people on this flight, Richard Branson. And so he came and sat down next to everybody. And because we were
so cool.
the new magazine at the airport, people were reading OK Magazine or the New York Post like I was. And he came and sat down, and I knew about Richard Branson, but not enough to be intimidated by him. So I was like, I have an idea. He's like, what? I was like, our magazine's owned by a British billionaire. You're just launched this airline. You should have OK Magazine as your in-flight magazine. There's a million reasons why small airlines don't have in-flight magazines. No airline really has in-flight magazines.
Yeah.
But he gave me his email address, and he said, email me, which I didn't realize at the time he does not do.
Yeah.
So
You're like, oh, great. Sounds good. Thank you.
Right. So I was on the train, to San Diego once I got to California to visit a friend, and I wrote him this proposal. I think we should do this, this, and this. And he texted me, meet me at the Box on Thursday. And the Box was a burlesque bar around the block from my house in New York.
Oh, you're like, guess I'm flying back.
Yeah. So, okay. So I went there, and he was with his CEO at the time, the director of communications at the time. And he said, this is Jen. She works with us now. So they called me Monday. They're like, so what do you do for us? I'm like, I just have this idea. And they're like, well, while we have you, can you help us? We're doing our launch parties. Who should we invite? How do we do a theme? Where should we do it? And it was just easier for me to do it myself and explain to them how to do it.
Yeah.
So I did their launch parties. And then I signed a contract, free flights for life, and did that on the side. And then Virgin Australia was launching the States, and they called and can we do the same deals you have with Virgin America? I'm like, I can't fly to Australia all the time, so you're going to have to pay me. So they started paying me, and I was still an editor. Okay, so I was doing that side, and there's just a point. I remember the exact
Wore
point.
a lot of hats.
Yeah. I was getting tired of keeping up with the Kardashians, per se. And I signed up for a class at UCLA, Finding Your Inner Muse. I felt like I was losing my creativity a little bit.
Oh, wow.
And it was sit and do nothing for as long as you can, which is a very difficult challenge for me. So I went and
I don't know how to do that. I try so hard.
Yeah.
And it's impossible because my brain's going like this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do I have to do next? Here's my to-do list. And it's constantly going that I never just sit still.
And there's always so many things to do and not enough minutes to do them in.
Yeah.
So I went and got a massage and sat in a sauna. And the professor specifically said, don't do anything crazy, like quit your job. And I'm like, I'm going to quit my job. And I went in the next day and I'm like, I'm going to quit. Knowing that I had Virgin Australia and Retainer, and Us Weekly had just offered me a job. Hollywood Life was launching and offered me a job.
So you quit, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was the height of things, before, but it was just getting more gossipy with the advent of Instagram and Perez Hilton and all the bloggers. It just wasn't where I started.
Haven't thought about him in a long while.
God. Yeah. He worked for me when he started.
Oh, really?
Page666.com was his beginning until Page 6 sued him, and he had to change it to Perez Hilton.
That is so funny.
Yeah, but he's a reporter at Star when I was there. And doing that in the corner while he was at work. But so it changed. And so I'm like, I'm just going to quit, take the summer, and figure out what I want to do next. And knowing that I had a standing job at other magazines if I wanted. Yeah. So it was a fortunate place to be in. And then I just started going to breakfast and lunches that I never had time for, and hearing about people's projects, like, do you think you can help with this? Do you think you could help with this? And I would just help with projects, like, as I thought I could do them. Like David Arquette and Jeff Beacher were opening a vaudeville club.
Yeah.
And they're like, help us. I'm like, I don't want to do nightlife. But then a couple dinners, I'm like, okay, I'll do it. So I was like doing this and just doing different projects until it just kind of kept like snowballed.
Yeah.
And then one of my clients, Virgin Australia, I shared with CAA, which is this giant agency for talent and branding.
Okay.
And in LA, their office is called the Death Star because it's just this giant office and you get dressed up to go in.
Yeah.
That's like kind of the dream job for a brand agent. And they called me and they asked me to come in for an interview, like for a full-time job. And you do a round robin of interviews, like 5 interviews in an hour and a half.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm in the last one, and my dad had just passed away. And they're like, we think you're great, but we don't think you really want the job. And I was thinking, it's like was making more money doing my little projects.
Yeah.
It's really fun to get dressed up to go into this office every now and again, but to do that every day, I'm like, oh,
You're
that's
like, that
me.
sounds exhausting.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know either. So then it's like from then you turn down what you think might be your dream job.
Yeah.
You commit to like, well, this is what I'm doing now. And so that was like about 12 years ago. And I just keep taking projects as I think I can help. It's all mixing like brands, talent, and media in different ways, which
You make it sound so casual and easy. You're like, so I just take the jobs as I, see fit. But it's like there's a lot of strategy behind that too, and you have to be thoughtful about what you're accepting.
yeah.
Because a lot of times, and I find this even in, my sector of life of taking on certain projects and which ones do I actually want to work on.
Yeah.
Because it's okay to say no to certain things. And you've obviously figured that out just with your balance of everything you're doing. But sometimes it's hard to do that.
It's hard. You kind of have to remind yourself, like, if you take the wrong thing, then you're not leaving space for the thing that you want. And so that's something I've really tried to stay true at my company.
That's such good. I love how that's like verbalized right there. That's good advice.
Thank you. Because I decided not to scale a long time ago. I have a lot of friends that started agencies too. They all scaled. They're doing great. I'm so happy for them.
Yeah.
They're in a stratosphere like of income that I will not attain. But I have a really good balance in my life.
Yeah.
I can take clients that I only want because I don't have to worry about
You don't
staff
have
to pay.
overhead. Yeah.
I could take equity instead of a retainer because I don't have the staff to pay or overhead. So it gives me a lot of like privilege to be able to make those decisions, I think.
That's really amazing. That's super cool.
Yeah.
So 10 years ago,
Mhm.
you started a journey of something even more different. And I see a little something over there. If you want to hand that to me, you spoke with Tahani Jones, NFL player,
Mhm.
and he asked you to write a novel with him.
Yeah.
More or less, right?
Yeah.
Tell me the story, because this is so cool.
Oh, so Tahani's been one of my close friends since he showed up at my door at Sundance several years before that and said, I'm staying here. I'm like, who is this guy? And my friend's like, he's cool. He's cool.
Yeah.
And he was on the New York Giants at the time. And I was the only one working in that house during Sundance. But afterwards, we became good friends. And so when he was retiring, we went to sushi one night. And he's like, so I'm thinking about doing a movie, two twins separate at birth. I was like, it's been done. And it'll get greenlit faster if you do a book first.
Okay.
Totally not true. But I didn't know that at the time, to be fair.
Yeah.
So he was retiring at Bengal. And he was trying to get me out of New York and LA too. He's like, you'll never meet someone like in New York or LA. So he's like, come to Cincinnati. You write the book. I'll do a book first. I was like, great. Went to Cincinnati, came up with all these ideas. Part of them was a road trip between the characters from Chicago to Truckee, California. And we're like, let's do the road trip. So we literally looked at like fun cities that we liked their names, mapped those cities from Chicago to California and did this road trip as if we were characters. Like, what would they do? And I had my laptop in the passenger seat, like writing storylines.
And he's driving and you're just...
I'm not a good driver. I do not like to drive.
Okay.
And so much so when he came to visit me in California, I had an Audi TT.
Okay.
And he would say, get in the passenger seat. And this linebacker was driving my little Audi TT always. So for this, he drove every mile. But he didn't tell me till we got into the car that he didn't like driving at night. So we would drive during the days and get hotels at night. And so we were driving to the sunsets every day.
Yeah.
And so hence chasing sunsets.
Oh, chills. I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So you did this 10 years ago.
Oh, right. So
tell me about the journey to get, okay, yes, you went on this road trip.
Yeah.
You wrote it. You wrote the story. How did it get to this
I learned
point?
so much. So I always thought, because I come from a daily newspaper background and a weekly magazine background, I can turn around copy really quickly.
Yeah.
And so when these people said, I took 10 years to write this book, I was like, who takes 10 years to write a book?
To write anything.
I'll write any. Yeah. I'm like, I could do that in like 6 months.
Yeah.
I did write the story in about 6 to 8 months. It was a lot. That part was easier than I thought it would be. Like, that was the most overwhelming part. Like, what do the characters do? I never did fiction before. We used my grandparents' backstory, being in DP camp after the Holocaust.
Oh, wow.
Because I always wanted to tell their story, but I didn't have
How
enough.
to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we took like the fact, like my grandmother did the Spielberg tape. So I had like her interviews. We put that into the background. So my father, he was actually 3 months old when they moved here from Germany. In the book, she's pregnant. And so it's twins. So they give one up for adoption. So we used that. It was nice to weave that in and then make it totally fiction. And then
Jen, you're killing me right now. All just like it's just so great. I'm so excited.
you.
Okay, keep going.
And we were really lucky because Dahani was still like playing football then too.
Yeah.
We got a good agent like right away with UTA. We got a great editor who edited Me Before You and like a bunch of great books.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the first thing she said is, this is way too long. You need to cut like 100 pages. And I was like, oh, God. So it's like, kill your darlings. I learned that lesson fast. And editing was harder.
How do you even know how to cut that much? That's just crazy.
Yeah.
That's
So that was so harder than writing the book for me. And then I got another editor. And then we got an attachment deal on the book really quickly with a great production company.
Okay.
Who's excited to make the movie. And it's a friend, has a production company, but he had their head of creative read it first, not saying I know this person. And she's like, this is a cross between The Notebook and Sliding Doors. We need to do this movie.
Yeah.
And so then he read it. And like, we'll try to reverse engineer it. We'll cast it so you get a better book deal. So they had it for like 6 to 8 months and they were going to try and get a screenwriter on it. But
and when was this?
Oh my God, this is probably 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, 17.
Go. Yeah. Okay.
So we were waiting. So it was like a year. I just didn't touch the book. But nobody wanted to touch something when the rights weren't. Nobody had the rights. So then he gave back to me. He's like, publish the book and then come back to us. And we re-signed that attachment deal, I think 5 times. Every year expire and we'd re-sign it. And then he's like, Jen, when you publish a book, then come back to me.
Yeah.
Which is funny. I wrote him this morning.
Oh, did you?
And so we ended up doing a hybrid publishing deal, which we should have done 8 years ago.
So what does that mean?
So
for,
it's you have to
us not publishing world people.
So there's certain publishers you have to submit your book and they accept it or they don't.
Okay.
But then you pay like a small amount and they do the editing and they do the distribution and they do everything. So
that's great.
Yeah. So we should have done this many, many years ago. And I've edited it so many times and ended up, the production company said nobody wants to be an old makeup for a whole movie. And our book was originally told from the perspective of 60-year-old characters.
Okay.
So I rewrote it from the granddaughter's perspective, who's a publicist talking to a journalist. So now it's told in like a dual timeline.
Wow.
So it was like rewriting it, re-editing it. And then it was like up to me. I just like kept dragging my feet. And I was like, you just get tired of reading your own work so much. So
absolutely.
Late last year, I was like, I just need to go to a cabin in the woods and finish this book, the last edit. And I Googled most underrated beautiful lakes in Europe.
Yeah.
And I saw something, Lake Blood, Slovenia. I never thought of Slovenia.
Yep.
And I told my fiance, I'm like, I think I'm going to go to Slovenia to finish the book. And he's like, okay, you invited me? I'm like, he's like, no, you're not. Okay, that sounds like a good journey for you.
Yeah.
And a week later, I went to Slovenia and stayed in a little cabin with a little rowboat outside the lake. And I finished the book.
And look, here it is.
Yeah.
Here's the book.
And I pressed send. My layover was in Frankfurt, Germany. So I stayed there for a day. And that's where the book really starts. So I pressed send to my publisher in Germany.
That's super cool.
And I felt like a full circle moment.
Yeah. That's incredible. So tell me, how can people purchase this? When is it available?
So it's available now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Target.com, everywhere books are sold pretty much. And yeah, the ebook is out the first week of September. The paper book is out now. The ebook is out the first week of September. And the audio book will be out May 2026.
That's so exciting. So for the audiobook, who do you have reading it? Is it?
I still haven't chosen one. Okay. Yeah. So my fiance is actually lobbying for the job.
Oh, really?
But the publisher sends you a bunch of voices.
Yeah.
And then you pick among them, or I guess you can have your own. Just like for the book cover, they did sign the book cover.
Yeah.
But I decided I wanted to have a local Austin artist do it.
So this is done by a
So that was
local-
painted by Avery Price, who does
gosh.
Painting ATX.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
yeah, she's a local artist who
That's
paints like
incredible.
all of like the historic and iconic places in Austin.
That's super cool. Here, I'll
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
It's so amazing.
So my fiance actually came up with an AI image to use as inspiration.
Uh-huh.
And when I gave it to her, and she took that and she
Made it appropriate
Yeah.
for a book.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's the right use of AI.
Right. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
you must be so excited. You
Yeah.
must be so proud of yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
this has been almost like a huge piece of
Well-
that's a big chunk of your life.
Yeah.
You know? And all the while you're doing a million other things at the same time. Because these timelines of all these things that you've been telling me about today are all interweaved together, which is crazy.
Yeah. And to me, it's just, I think that's where my ADHD plays positively for me.
Yeah, well, I think also when you're an idea person and
Yeah.
when you're somebody who gets excited about something and, you're bound to go in a bunch of different directions. And
Yeah.
I think that it's healthy. And
Well,
you were
too.
saying
you have your design company, you have the store, you have a podcast now.
I know. I'm a little crazy.
But the best of us are.
I know. I think that there's a special type of person that can handle a lot of things.
Yeah.
And also making sure that you're still doing things that excite you and that you enjoy.
Yeah.
And I think this is, just another piece of that. And you never thought you were going to be a novelist, right?
No. I mean, every journalist, I think, wants to write a book.
Yeah.
But I've realized, and this was great, I loved doing this,
Yeah.
but I think this was my one and done with fiction.
Really?
Yeah. It was fun. It was a fun exercise, fun learning experience. If I do another book, it'll be one nonfiction book.
Yeah.
I
feel like you should write an autobiography.
Yeah.
Because your life is so exciting.
It's been percolating on. It's like Dramedy of Eternal Optimist. It's like
Yeah.
short stories, maybe one day, but
Yeah. So you mentioned Eternal Optimist.
Mhm.
Talk to me about your optimism in life, because I feel like that's a big piece of who you are.
yeah.
You've said to me before that people come to you and ask about your optimism. So tell me about how you have that outlook, where it kind of came from.
Yeah. I mean, I think I realized I grew up with rose-colored glasses. I've had, it was like a good life, but then you realize things happen. But if I can't change it, then I don't tend to get upset about it. And you just kind of turn the page and move on. Sometimes I said, I'm like, Jen Aniston said, Brad Pitt's missing a sensitivity chip, only because if I can't change it, then I don't usually get too upset about it. It's easier to be happy than not happy, I think.
I agree with you. I think it's very easy every day to just wake up and decide to smile, which sounds so silly, but
Yeah. And the things that, I know the things I need to make myself happy. I need 8 hours sleep. I need to do some kind of movement every day. I need to eat well. And so do you just do balance? I think has really always been really important to me. As busy as I am,
yeah.
I'm very precious about my 8 hours sleep.
Yeah.
And those things. So kind of knowing what you need to be happy.
Yeah. So talk to me about your routine, because you just mentioned that, you know what you need in order to be happy in your day.
Yeah.
For me, I woke up at 5 so I could work out by 5:30 and then go through my emails and make sure I had everything prepped for this today before we recorded at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
So that's me. That's making sure I have all my ducks in a row. And that's before my kids wake up and
Yeah.
before, I need to wear that hat of my life as well. So tell me about your routine and kind of what kind of keeps you centered throughout your day so that you can make sure that you maintain your eternal optimism.
Yeah. So I usually sleep 11 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wake up and I don't look at my phone for at least 30 minutes. So I wake up, have water with lemon, take my dogs outside, go outside and get hopefully some sunshine.
It's good you drink water first. That's what my sister my sister is a accountability coach. And so
Oh,
she
wow.
always tells people, blah, blah. When you wake up, before you have your coffee, you should really have a glass of water.
Yeah.
And I wake up and I see the water and I see my espresso machine. I still always just get the espresso
same.
first.
It's common.
I can't help it.
Well, I always do water because you dehydrate when you sleep.
Yeah.
And then I just started adding lemon a few years ago because just the pH balance before you have a coffee in it, it helps, I think, with something.
Oh,
So,
great.
because then I go to the coffee, straight for the coffee.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to do
Yeah.
it. And we have
Yeah.
our local Brentwood Social House coffee here.
Oh,
It's so
amazing.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I do morning pages, so I just journal, like brain dump in the morning. It started out, I guess, probably like 10 years ago. I did the 5-minute journal. So
Oh,
it's a
did
gratitude
you?
journal.
Yeah.
And then I realized
I
sometimes
did
I'd
that
want to
at
do my
for
dreams.
a portion of
Sometimes,
my life.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so it changed just to a blank journal that I do gratitude journal. And
Mhm.
I mean, it sounds so silly sometimes, but like sometimes I'm grateful for my bed. I'm grateful for the sunshine.
Mhm.
But I think they say it's a science, gratitude. It makes you happier and more fulfilled. So I do that just, it's not even legible every morning. And then I stretch. And then I go to my office at 8. I'm at my office at 8.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
amazing though.
Yeah.
You can like start your day off right, and
Yeah.
you know you're going to have a positive day because of it.
Yeah. So it's like, I think 98% of the time, it's like I start my day the exact same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked, all this positivity. We've talked about a lot of things to where, all these amazing achievements that you've had, but there had to have
Thanks.
been some kind of hardships that kind of pushed you in the direction to be such a hard worker and a grinder. I know that some people are just naturally hard workers, but sometimes you need to
Yeah.
like overcome some challenges in order to realize, oh, if I work hard, I can do XYZ. I can get to where I want to be in life. What are some of the
Yeah.
hardships you've experienced?
I think one early on kind of shaped a lot of who I became. When I was younger, I thought I had the picture perfect childhood. I was going to go to college, and I did. I went to college my freshman year, and I was rushing a sorority, and I went to ASU, which is a party school.
Mhm.
Um, then after my first semester, my dad got sick, and so I didn't go back my second semester, and he was in a coma for a little while, and my
Sorry to
sister
hear
was in
that.
high school.
Yeah.
Okay, so my mom was always in the hospital. I was taking care of my 16-year-old sister, which my idea was like throw parties and not smart. But then I was waitressing at the local restaurant to
Yeah.
kind of just keep things afloat because nobody was working. And then when my dad got better, all of a sudden there wasn't money to send me back to school, or
Yeah.
like things had changed, and that just didn't never register to my head that would be even a possibility. So I saved money waitressing. My sister got a job hostessing and helped me out. And I went back to Arizona, but I couldn't afford to go back to college. So I slept on my friend's futon and took the bus to community college.
Yeah.
And you realize, and waitressed, and realized like how not to take for granted, like
Mhm.
even an education or a roof over my head. And I saved up money and got a partial scholarship to go back to ASU. And then it was different. I was realized that you have to work for things you want. You can't
Yeah.
just take them for granted. And that experience, it was hard at the time because it was just kind of just out of left field all of a sudden, like grow
I
up.
mean, flip
But
turned upside down, really. You
yeah,
were just kind of going along with the motions like any college kid
yeah,
does that you would imagine it would.
yeah. Then retrospect is probably the best thing that ever happened to me because it gave me that hustle, it gave me motivation. I probably would have just been graduated in 4 years and probably gone and got my master's to
Yeah.
stay in school. And
'Cause that's a logical next step.
right.
Yeah.
So it turned out, yeah, to be the best thing that ever happened.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry about your dad, but it
Yeah.
seems like it was a learning opportunity, I
Yeah. And
guess,
he
for
ended up getting
you.
better and had another like 10 years. So
Well, that's
yeah.
great. That's crazy. And amazing that your sister helped you.
Yeah. We've been like, she's my best friend, and we've like throughout life. Then she went to college and she needed help, and
Yeah.
so it's like we've always gone back and forth. Now she works in finance and lives in New York City, and she's doing great.
She's
But
doing
she's
all
still,
right.
yeah, she's CMO of my CFO of my company. She does all my
Oh, wow.
bookkeeping, all of my talk about transparency. I learned why people used to hide things in the trunk of the car from their spouses. It's how I was with my sister and my Venmo account. Until she's like, I need your Venmo password too.
Yeah.
So we have full transparency with
I know,
everything.
my bookkeeper follows my Venmo as well, and I'm just like, "Oh, man, this
Yeah.
is it's a real relationship here, and they're not family."
Yeah. But even through that, like my sister and I weren't close when we were really young, but then
Mhm.
she was a freshman in high school and I was a senior. And I'm like, I'm the only one that can make fun of her. So then
Yeah.
I became protective of her then.
Aw.
And I think going through the trials and tribulations together is like just makes you closer also.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's super cool. So, I do have to ask you, being the PR expert that you are, where you've fallen into that world, what kind of advice do people ask you, in the PR spectrum of life? Like, do they come to you and ask you what you should do about, if they're launching their book? What do I do?
Yeah.
How do I do this? Do you have people asking you for
Yeah. All the time. Yeah. It's great. And it's changing every day. Like
Mhm.
PR more than anything. It used to be you have a PR agency and you get press in media for people. And now it's all communications companies. So
Right.
you don't hear many PR companies. Every PR company is turned into communications because that means you're 360. Because I think to get press
And
is
that includes social
360.
and
It's
online.
traditional press. It's social. It's influencer marketing.
Yeah.
It's events. It's like all the things have to come together. But influencers have a bigger reach than most media outlets now. But it's picking the right influencer. Kim Kardashian can post about something, and if it's a food, for example, or this really big food blogger that posts recipes all day, post about it, and the food blogger might have 100,000 followers. Kim Kardashian has tens of billions, but you'll get more ROI from the food blogger often
Yeah,
because
because it's going to be served up to the people who really care about that.
right.
Yeah.
And same thing with design. If you have someone who people go to for design, like design hacks all the time,
Mhm.
or you have someone with tenfold following, it's probably the design hacks person that's going to sell more product for you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Well, I mean, you're obviously an expert in many avenues.
Thanks. Good at a little bit of a lot of things. Just
Yeah,
kidding.
no, jack of all trades, master of none, I don't think so. That's
Yeah,
like the
my best friend
worst
calls me Jen of all trades.
Jen of all trades.
So, yeah.
My son's name is Jack, and so I'm always like,
Okay.
anything with Jack, I throw it in there.
Yeah. Amazing.
Okay, so something that I ask everybody when they come in is, are there any little joys that help anchor your day-to-day life?
My dogs.
Your dogs?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think they're like just natural. My dog's name is Benjamin, but it's like benzo. It's like naturally brings your heart rate down.
Yeah.
So I think whenever I have a stressful moment, I do just go hang out with my dogs for 5 minutes, go outside.
And you work from home, and that's so
I do.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one. I think appreciating just the little joys, like going outside in the sunshine, in the trees. I'll go sit in like the swing and just really take joy out of the sun and being in nature, that I have nature in my backyard, that I have a backyard.
I know.
Yeah.
Have you loved that part of Austin, just being here and enjoying? Did you do the trails and all that?
Sometimes you always think you're going to do them more.
Yeah.
But yes, 'cause in LA, I did Running Canyon. I lived here, so I
Yeah.
did that all the time. So it's nice. I didn't realize how much nature was here until I moved here.
I think a lot of people don't realize in Austin specifically how the
Yeah.
nature is so hilly in comparison to other places in Texas, too.
Yeah.
You know, I know coming from California, like the hills are little
Mountain.
baby,
Yeah.
baby ant hills here. But I mean, coming from Florida originally, I
Oh.
came here and I'm like, I feel like I'm in California. Then I go to California, I'm like, oh, that's a little silly sounding, but that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Well, just that there's such an outdoor culture
Yeah.
is really
Yeah, and
nice.
everybody appreciates it, even when
Yeah.
it's blistering hot, which is wild.
Yeah. And I don't really mind the heat that much.
Yeah, same.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
being
so much.
here
It's
today.
been
This has
lovely.
been so fun. I knew right off the bat when I met you, I was like, she's going to be incredible on this. And
Thank
so you proved me right. And just as a reminder, people can purchase this online
Yes.
on Amazon, Target, Barnes & Noble, anywhere where you purchase your books. So
Yeah.
I'm super excited for you.
Thank you
Congratulations.
so much.
And tell me where they can also follow along your journey for all of your walks of life.
Simply Jen 22
Simply Jen 22.
on
And then
Instagram.
also follow Austin Lifestyle
And Austin
Magazine,
Lifestyle.
right?
Yes. Austin Lifestyle
Awesome.
Magazine. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for spending a little time here with Laura. If you enjoyed today's show, I'd love for you to subscribe, like, share with others. It means and helps more than you know. And you can find out more about me, my friend Jen here in the podcast notes. Thank you and see you soon.